Hey family, it's Tasha MAMABEAR Prepping. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel where we just talk about emergency preparedness. We talk about homesteading. We talk about transitioning from, this crazy world to being more self-sufficient, being more of a family who takes care of themselves, full circle type of thing. So with that said, let's get into today's video. We're going to talk about chickens, and we're really going to talk about alternate ways to feed your chickens when SHTF happens, when the feed and the things run out for the chickens. So like any other, any animal, any livestock, any of that stuff, you want to be thinking about, okay, how do I feed this animal? What are all the things I need for this animal, as far as taking care of it, care, medicine, bedding, all of those things. And then you want to stockpile it and make sure that you have enough for a rainy day, that you have enough to get you through a storm, a situation, total collapse, whatever happens, but you've stockpiled and you've gotten ready, right? You've prepared so that that animal is taken care of just like you prepare for you and your family. And with any animal, this is what you want to do. So, and it's not too hard. Literally, you can go to Google and you could just Google ideas. You could watch videos. This is kind of a mix, if you will, of different things that I've seen throughout social media in the last year since I started researching about chickens and just getting ideas of different things that we could do. Now, there's all types of ways that you can extend the life of your food, of your feed, right? This video is not really talking about that, but again, go to the internet, use it while we have it, and find out different ways that you can maximize your feed that you're giving your chickens. But as we know, we've ran into issues with feed this year, ran into issues with changes in it, and chickens, because of it, were not able to lay, right? And so let's talk about some different ways, and hopefully this gives you some ideas. I know that some of you guys don't have chickens yet, but I know that some of you guys want to have chickens. I also know that some of you are holding back because of the way things are in the world right now. You know the value of chickens, but you are holding back because you're like, it's another mouth to feed, it's another, animal to feed, livestock to feed, and not sure you can afford it, or you want to be responsible. And what if things go left, and how do you continue to feed this animal? Okay, so these are my ideas. So number one is free range, right? Allowing the chickens to free range throughout the property. They're finding worms and grubs. They're finding obviously all the grains and all the grasses and all the all that stuff, right? Plants and bushes and all types of stuff that they're going around and they're eating, scratching at, and getting at, right? It's not a full diet, if you will, but however, it would absolutely supplement chickens. A lot of chickens are free range. They get a little bit of grain, obviously, but a lot of that is supplemented by, them being free range, depending on the terrain too, whether it's woods, whether, whatever it is, okay? They eat spiders. They eat all types of little rodents and grubs and insects and stuff. And they're actually pretty fast. So, and they're not scared like you and I. I'm like, ooh, a spider. And a chicken will eat a spider in a heartbeat, okay? I watched my chicken, a fly had come into the cage and was buzzing around her. Boy, I never seen her move so fast. She's fat, man. I never seen her move so fast trying to get that fly. So, man, if that fly would have made the wrong turn move in its little flight movements, it would have got, okay? So, I just love that. They have that instinct to eat it. If it's moving like that in front of them, they're supposed to eat it, okay? So free ranging. Next one is microgreens. Now, I have a positive and a pro and a con with microgreens. Microgreens, the pro is they are amazing. They're high in nutrients. I say that if you're trying to give your chickens an immediate super boost of nutrients, right? Leafy green nutrients, microgreen is good. Microgreens, you could do a whole tray of them. You could, cut them off and slice it off where they get a strip of that for the day. Obviously, depending on how many chickens you have, maybe you have enough chickens, they're getting a couple trays or one tray. You would figure that out. The only negative that I have to say about microgreens, and let me back up, pro about that too is, stuff like broccoli and arugula or whatever it is that they're eating, and you do a microgreen of it, it's like 10 times the nutrients, right? So they have broccoli microgreens, they have arugula microgreens, they have sunflower microgreens. I've got a link in the description box below, okay, for Survival Garden Seeds. They are an amazing company. I love, love, love their seeds. The overall price that you're paying for the seeds are amazing for the quality heirloom seed that you are getting and receiving. My whole garden is done with their seeds. My whole indoor garden is done with their seeds. I can't say enough about them, okay? I do anything that is a direct sow, I'm using their seeds, okay? So check them out. If you get certain packages or certain packs, you're going to see that there's a discount below for those. But they sell beautiful, beautiful microgreen seeds and microgreen packs, right? Depending on what you want. I think there's a 5-pack. I think there's a 10-pack. Beautiful. However, the only thing that I would say is, unlike a regular seed, you get a seed, you plant it, you have that one seed, it grows, germinates, hopefully. It grows into something, and then that one seed can potentially produce all types of plants, and then you can harvest that fruit, and you can harvest it and get more seeds. So it's just like an abundance, the gift that just keeps giving. Where microgreens is a little bit different. To me, it's a lot of seeds that takes very little effort, in the sense of it only takes like 7 days to sprout into something that they could eat, that your chickens could eat, that you could eat. And so I'm a huge fan of them, but it's a lot of seeds. And so I would say it's just like the feed, in the sense of eventually you could run out of those seeds. But there's other ways. There's other things you can sprout. Obviously, you can still get seeds from the garden, sprout those, different things like that. So it's not a never-ending circle. It's just a concern of mine, okay, when it comes to microgreens. Next thing is lettuces in general. Lettuces don't take that many that long to grow themselves, right? So chickens love all types of lettuces. I've learned that, so one day not one day, I feed them on a regular basis baby spinach. I just take them out, some handfuls of baby spinach from time to time, throw it down, they devour it, they absolutely love it. I had some lettuce, some iceberg lettuce, and I was like, oh, I don't want the rest of this for sandwiches. It was just like the end result. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to take it out there. It's scraps. It's table scraps, right? I took it out there, baby, negative. They were like, no, thank you, ma'am. We're not eating this. What is this? This has no flavor. Exactly what you would think of iceberg lettuce. That's exactly what my chickens thought of it. But lettuces in general, they grow fast. You can cut clippings from them, give them some handfuls, and then that head of lettuce will continue to grow. And so that's a great way, because it doesn't take months and months and months to grow, and it will keep producing even after you clip clippings off of it to feed to your chickens. Next thing I have is berries that you've grown, fruits that you've grown. So any kind of fruit. Again, there's a ton of fruits that chickens in general will eat. Mine, for example, you can feed apples, but for example, my chickens, they don't care for them. They'll let them sit there all day. They just really, really don't like them. But if you put some blueberries in there, some strawberries in there, some bananas, any of that stuff, they killing it, okay? So they love, 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 love the fruits. And so if you have incorporated that into your garden, for us, when we move, we have a few blueberry bushes right now. But when we move, we plan to have probably a whole orchard of blueberries, right? I have tons of strawberries right now, but plan to have a ton of a huge strawberry patch once we move. So the thing is, they absolutely love that. That's another thing that can supplement. Obviously, they can't live off that, but great nutrients, vitamins, all of that stuff. Next thing is a herb garden. It's hard to grow things within the confines of where they're at all day hanging out, right? Some kind of run, because they'll just devour any kind of plants, herbs, whatever that you put in there. But there's a lot of stuff that's very good for them, is okay for them. And so for me, for example, I plan on having a little out area, a little chicken garden, if you will, where it's an area that has herbs and different things like that they're able to come out. I can let them hang out there for a little bit during the day, maybe a nice sunny area, right? And they can hang out there, eat some herbs, kind of just chill out, and then I can corral them out of there, right? So it's not an all the time area, because they will just eat, and totally eat your plants down, and you won't have anything, okay? But that stuff is amazing for them. And so having their own little chicken herb garden, I think would be an amazing. And these are things, you guys, that aren't necessarily things that we've even started, but they're on my bucket list. They're in my mind. They're thoughts of what I think is important to get ready for the day when we don't have any feed and we can't get any more feed. And how do we continue to take care of these chickens? And it goes into that full circle type of thing. Next thing I have is sprouts. So you might say, well, you said microgreens, sprouts, microgreens, kind of the same thing. Sprouting is a little bit different for me. Sprouting can be from sunflowers, can be from beans. Anyway, you take the seed, you sprout it. I saw a really cool video of what I want to do is sprouting in mason jars. And then you can have the different jars for the different days, and then you just have a rotation and they get a jar a day or whatever. And it's just a little treat, especially if you have a ton of chickens, right? But it's something that you can do. I've seen sprouting videos where folks are just water the ground, throw down the seeds, right? So the beans or the sunflowers, whatever, water it down, cover it with a swimming pool I saw, or a tote you could use, basically because it's dark. Make sure it has some holes just so some airflow can get in there a little bit, and then just within days, like microgreens, pull that up and they've sprouted. And then you just you do that in the chicken run area, and then you remove the tub when you want your chickens to just go crazy and be able to do that. There's a lot of stuff you can do in your chicken coop too, as far as grass patches and sprout patches, where you can put the grating over a space, get it to grow, cover it, and then put a grating where they can't totally devour it. They can eat all the topping, but then it allows it to not be completely picked out of the ground. You can cover it again, do it all over again. Okay, so sprouting. Another thing I have is your farms. So your worm farms. My kiddo loves nothing more than being out in the garden or being outside and comes across a worm in the grass, in the sidewalk, in the garden, wherever he's at. Moves something on the patio, finds a worm, whatever it is, loves taking that big old fat worm over there and watching the chickens. He tries to get them to share and to, whatever. It's horrible, but he loves more than nothing feeding the chickens these big fatty worms. We have a ton of worms here in Washington State. And so it's amazing. He loves that, but you can do that yourself. You can have a worm farm and let that grow for yourself. Let that be a full cycle thing. And then just you're taking out worms from time to time to be able to feed to them. The other thing would be a mealworm farm. Again, saw another video. The only reason why I haven't done this one yet, because I feed my chickens quite a bit. Like, that's a daily snack for them, is their mealworms. Whatever snack I give them, they're getting mealworms too, right? And so with the mealworms, I saw a video of doing a mealworm farm. And so I'm absolutely 100% doing that. I will do a video when I do it. I'm super, super excited to do it, but I don't want to move with it. And so, we're in this moment in time where we're about to push the button. And so we're holding off on a few things because we don't want to have to move those items, right? But boy, baby, I'm ready. I want to do that. So mealworm farm, again, full circle, making your own mealworms for them. And that whole cycle of, how that works and making those and producing those yourself. And then the last thing that I had was, and then I have some tips, so make sure you stick around to the end. The next thing I have is preserving your own scratch, right? Making your own scratch, getting your cracked corn, getting your sunflower seeds, your flax seeds, getting your black sunflower seeds, just all your different seeds, cracked corn, and putting that all together. You can put some mealworms in there as well, do a little trail mix up, and then you've made your own scratch. Now, of course, this takes products, this takes feed, this takes the cracked corn, this takes the seeds, this takes the things that we just said we're trying to get away from. But it is something that you can do now while you can get this stuff, make this scratch, put it in a jar, put it away for, a rainy day, right? Vac seal it and have it for later, right? So that you have it as an option later when the actual cracked corn, maybe you get a 50-pound bag of cracked corn, you get a 50-pound bag of seeds, whatever, you get all this stuff that you give to them on a regular basis, but you end up running out of that stuff. And so again, it's just an idea of, just like we preserve food right now for a rainy day, same thing, you're preserving some sort of food for them, some sort of scratch for them. You could do this with feed, you could do this, but eventually you run out of this stuff. So this is just another option. again, too, you know, that option, there's other things you could do to make some sort of scratch someday, right? You can grow your corn, right? You can grow and get sunflower seeds. So there's some stuff that you can grow to get these seeds and stuff that they're eating, and that they are liking, okay? Yeah, so corn, sunflower, wheat, so like the wheat berry, the flax seeds, all of that stuff. Really find out what your favorite little snacky scratch food is that you're giving your chickens, and get that, basically. Look on the back, see what's in the ingredients, and then see if you can do your own rendition of that. I mean, it's like any kind of other little snack trail mix stuff that you see on the market. You can make that stuff yourself, and it's no different than the scratch, okay? It's just a trail mix essentially for chickens. And then my tips are this. Remember, we just said you could preserve food, you could freeze food. So a lot of times I like the frozen fruit. So you can buy now this is kind of expensive, especially now, but you could be buying frozen fruit and have that option also later to introduce to them by having fruit frozen and keeping fruit that way, okay? You could, if you have a freeze dryer, if you're blessed to have a freeze dryer, you could be freeze drying all the things that you know that they like. You could be freeze drying, or dehydrating. So for example, one of the things is I can't grow bananas here, but my chickens love bananas. They're like obsessed with bananas, and so they love bananas, but I can't grow bananas. So I'm like, okay, how do I keep that circle going? Well, I could dehydrate while I can now. I could be dehydrating bananas and preserving them. Or I could be buying number 10 cans, let's say, from a freeze-dried company of bananas, and saving them. And those cans, 25 years. I could be freeze-drying bananas, make my own freeze-dried bananas that would be lasting 25 years. So there's different things that I can do for the things that your animal likes now that you know you're not able to produce by growing it in your garden, growing it on your land, producing it from your land. And that's okay. But what could you do now while we are on the grid, while we do have the internet, while we do have the ability to buy things? How are you able to get those things and preserve them now? So for me, bananas is a big thing for preserving now because I know that they love them so much, and I want to be able to continue to be able to give them those treats from time to time, right? Potassium, super, super big in potassium, super good for them. And so I want to ensure that I can still be able to give that to them, okay? So that's my list. I know there's lots of other lists out there. I know there's other ideas. There's other things you can do. Please, in the comments below, let the group know if there's something that you've been doing, something that you're doing, something that you've worked, some kind of a hack or whatever. You can go ahead and share the different ways to preserve or, extend food if you want to share that information. This video wasn't really about that, but you could share that information. There's lots of different ways for fermenting food and different things, putting water in it and just making it last longer, making mashes, that type of thing. So let me know your guys' thoughts, your ideas. Let me know what you thought of this video. I know I said I'm going to start shifting. We're going to talk about preparedness, but we're going to talk about homesteading. We're going to talk about self-sufficiency. I think that is the game changer for the long haul, the long game. That's what it's about. You've got to change the way you view things, the way you do things, the way we prepare. And that's what this channel is going to be about. Okay. So you guys be well, take care, and I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next video. Take care. Bye.